Hey folks, as you see, I have this overcoming difficulty up here on the screen. We have ahead of us in the next couple months big shifts. Even currently, we're dealing with the eclipses, which bring in Rahu and Ketu, the lunar nodes. Saturn is going to be joining the lunar node of Rahu for a couple months here, starting at the end of March. Also, Mars has been in a precarious position, back and forth, debilitated, and in Gemini, being a bit disruptive. If you've noticed all of the emotional and mental combativeness that's been happening. And you can also see below my name, it says SaturnTruth.com. You can get a free Saturn ebook that I made very, very thorough at that website. I'll have some links there for that. But I'm going to be talking about these things today and going over what you can do to overcome these difficulties and what the superpowers are. Because, of course, like everything in Vedic astrology and in life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. You've heard that before, but it's true. Everything is conspiring for you, your true nature, you, not your ego, not how it all feels, not how it's supposed to be, and whatnot. And that's always my perspective. And if you appreciate that perspective and you like my videos, please join the site here, just become a member and ring the bell to get notified of other videos like this. Also, leave a comment and share the video with others as well. Because again, this is free content, but it really helps when people share it, then it gets amplified and magnified. So these are very pressure-filled times right now. Big Saturn pressure, Rahu pressure, anxiety, but the superpower is ingenuity. Ketu, past anxiety. Superpower is perceiving the beyond. So this is what I'm going to go over today, right? And Saturn, that pressure of time. Mars, that strength, will, but also irritation, irritability. By the way, as you see, there's also a screen here that says overcoming difficulty assessment. I've done these assessments and they're very popular, and I'm offering a ridiculous discount if you also wanted to have me look at your chart for where Saturn, Mars, Rahu, and Ketu are, and you can even get a discount, save 50 discount there on that, but I'll just, leave a link for you there. But let's start. As it says here, overcoming difficulty, Mars, strength and will. That's the real superpower of Mars. The difficulty is anger, frustration, and when our strength and willpower aren't properly focused, then we mistake others and external circumstances to be the source of our suffering. When in reality, the only thing that can make us weak and zap our strength is our own lack of focus and discipline. Because again, you only have so much control over outer circumstances anyway, but you have 100% control over your vitality, how you interpret whatever is happening, and whether you feel like it's happening to you or for you. When you are fortified and strong internally, things don't disturb you as much. Saturn is about time and pressure, the pressure of time, which means that time is unfolding. Again, things like, when we see astrology, we're actually looking into the future, right? And when we're afraid of the future, which is what Saturn can bring, or we have all these regrets about the past that make us afraid about the future because, oh, what if what's happening in the future is just like all that scary stuff that happened in the past? Saturn, very much about that. So rather than having this be something that destroys your peace of mind, you can get more in control of your own life, your own mind, and your own time with Saturn. Rahu is this future anxiety, which is about our evolving karma, where things are leading in our life. Again, as you can see in this chart right now, we're in this eclipse cycle. This is the end of the month, the end of March, as I record this at March 7th, 2025. But you see, Rahu has been in Pisces, and we're in a very close eclipse orb right now, and Ketu, his opposite, the the body without the head, has been in Virgo. So these two are about the future and the past. Rahu is that future anxiety about what might be happening, and Ketu is a certain past anxiety where we feel this anxiety about what happened in the past, and a kind of frustration about things that we're certain of, like we've convinced ourselves, and it can make us paralyzed in the present. One of the things about Ketu, it can really lead to a certain amount of procrastination. Wherever Ketu is, we can feel kind of stuck in the past a little bit. So again, you see this overcoming difficulty assessment. It's very valuable. You can go to the overcomingdifficultyreading.com. I'll have that in the links. But you can see here Mars, strength and will, and the superpower is discipline and courage. So Mars shows courage, clarity, distinction, wants to resolve situations, and will also defend our boundaries. So again, when Mars is powerful, the defense of our boundaries often means breaking connection with things that are not working anymore. So when things stop working, when situations are no longer working, particularly with other people, or just in other situations that are draining our energy and making us weaker, Mars will want to resolve the matter. Big thing about Mars, wanting to resolve matters. This is also why Mars has to do with opinions, because opinions is kind of resolving it. Well, is it black or white? Is it good or bad? Is it this or that? Which one? Right? And Mars wants to resolve matters in order to know what to do, because I want to do something about it. But first I need to know, is it right or wrong? What's right, what's wrong, so I know what to do. Mars is very simplistic in that way. So if it's wrong, then I need to know what to do about it to make it right. What to destroy to make right. But again, we have to be very careful, because instead of, when we can simplify Mars in this regard, that it's all happening internally. If what's right or wrong is you're wrong, so I need to destroy you, then Mars has gone off the rails. Now that doesn't mean I need to have you in my life. It means maybe I do need to remove you from my life, but I don't have to do it in a destructive way, in an angry way, in a mean way. But maybe I need to destroy the connection now because I need a boundary. But I can do it, and I will do it humanely and with humanity and with love and grace, because those are different things. Dealing with other people has to do mostly with Venus and Mercury. Dealing with myself and my own frustration and aggravation has to do with Mars. This is what these tamasic energies are about. Saturn and Mars are both what are called tamasic, which means they're cruel. And we need to keep that tamasic energy, that cruel energy, to ourselves. But instead, because it's hard to keep it to ourselves, it's hard for us to face our own weakness, we project it onto others. And instead, we share our anger with others rather than using it as the fire of discipline. Because the fire of our discipline and courage is anger. Discipline and courage are the spiritual elevation and transformation of what we mostly experience as anger. So again, this is why when we want to, justify our anger as something that was, that was justified, especially against another person. Now, again, sometimes we need to act with, you might call it righteous anger, in order to destroy things that are violating Dharma and whatnot. That's another matter where we have to protect, and that righteous anger comes out to protect Dharma. By the way, this is often what we do even when we argue with other people. Well, it's the principle of the thing. That's why, because I have to fight on behalf of every other person you might, abuse or something like that. So we can justify it often, but it's usually not righteous anger. It's usually just, you're getting on my nerves and I don't like it, and now I'm going to fight back, and you deserved it, kind of thing. So again, when we can have our mind destroyed that way, then we're not being disciplined. We're also not being strong. There's weakness, and we're not exercising courage. Real courage is to face our own foibles in that regard. So again, when we elevate the anger and frustration of Mars, it becomes inner courage, clarity, distinction. And Mars, Mangal, the Lord of Virya, or energy. So this is why things like yoga are deeply related to Mars, because yoga is the transformation of anger and frustration into tapas and discipline, where we're willing to suffer for our principles rather than make others suffer for our principles. Saturn shows time, pressure. Again, like I said at the beginning, the superpower is stillness, solitude, and peace. So as I said, Saturn shows that pressure of time, and it reveals the truth, how we act through time. It can also lead to a disconnection from others as well. Excuse me. It's that tamasic boundaries as well. Both Mars and Saturn are about boundaries, because they're about bringing those energies back to ourself. That's what the tamasic energies are. Again, with Mars, it's that courage to face ourselves. With Saturn, it's that capacity to stay committed, and that capacity for commitment, and to not just face ourselves once in a while, but to keep doing it, and to be determined to grow and face our limitations. And this allows us to really grow in sensitivity over time. So understand that Saturn is really that awareness of time, the past, that can be a burden to us. This is why so many people love to just wallow in the pain and problems of their childhood. And when I say these kinds of things in videos, sometimes people are just like, oh, but I understand what you're saying, but you're minimizing how important psychology is and childhood is and all this. I'm not minimizing it. I'm just not making it that important in the present moment. Everyone had a childhood. Everyone had a past. It was painful, yada, yada, yada. And I say yada, yada because that's kind of what it is. This moment is still right now. None of that is changed by the beauty and simplicity of this moment, which is what Saturn is really about, more as much as anything. It's about the beauty, simplicity of this moment, and especially the forgiveness of the past, because we hang on to all of that past resentment, that past fear, and then we project it into the future, and then we're kind of crippled. This is why everyone is so afraid to make a mistake, to look foolish, public speaking. You know, there's this thing that says public speaking is the biggest fear people have, even more than death. So it's like the people that are giving the eulogy at the funeral have more fear they have more fear of giving the eulogy than they do of being in the box. And all of this is just because, well, maybe I'll make a mistake in public like I did when I was 10 years old and people will laugh at me. And people carry this through their whole life. So again, Saturn is where we master time, and rather than just go around avoiding external circumstances and trying to control them, we return that energy to the source, which is within our own heart. And that leads to the deepest sensitivity, where we also forgive all the people who did the things to us that they were wrong for, and all those things we're still holding on to, where we resent others. So we resent those from the past, so we try to control those in the present, who we're afraid are going to do those same things to us. Rahu and Ketu are about these lunar nodes, and they show the quality of being out of this body mind matrix, beyond the world of the senses. And again, you can see we're in this eclipse cycle right now. Rahu is that ascending node. Ketu is the past node. So again, Rahu is accelerating karma into the future, where we feel kind of unprepared for what's next, because we are. Wherever Rahu is in our natal chart, we're unprepared. We feel unprepared for that thing, because it is where we are starting a new cycle of karma. As such, though, it shows ingenuity, because we don't have all of the contamination of, well, here's what's possible. With Rahu, it's like anything's possible. I don't know. I haven't done this yet. Maybe it's not possible, or maybe it's not impossible, right? So this leads to outside of the box thinking. The Rahu in your life sees hidden energy, sees hidden power, right? So again, even where we're here in this area of our life right now, where we're all on the verge of this eclipse, we're seeing all the hidden potential and energies, especially in that Pisces area of life, right? All this hidden spiritual potential, mystical potential, right? And again, in the 30-minute overcoming difficulty reading, I go over these things in your chart, because in your chart, Mars was somewhere, so you have a certain relationship to anger and frustration. Saturn was somewhere, so you have a general relationship with facing fears and being alone and willingness to commit to things. Again, Mars, you have a relationship with being overwhelmed by frustrations, etc. The nodal axis rules that axis of confusion around what's possible in the past, what's possible in the future. Again, so Rahu, we're looking at that future potential. And so all of this, like when you were born, Rahu was doing something, giving you this natural awareness of what's coming in the future. Well, it's not an awareness, but it's also a stress and an anxiety. We all feel right now that we're on the verge of this brand new world where everything is kind of dissolving, which is Rahu Pisces, where the world we're used to is dissolving. But what's next? We don't know. So again, you can see Saturn is coming in behind it here in the next month. So as Rahu is trying to dissolve all the Pisces stuff, Saturn is trying to shore it up. So again, this is why it's also really important for you to understand Saturn. And again, this free ebook, as you see under my name where it says saturnshift.com, it's free. Just go ahead and sign up for it, and I'll send it to you. Very important that you understand Saturn in your life. You can see this is an overview of that free ebook, Saturn, Bringer of Peace. It actually has a bunch of videos embedded in the ebook. It's not just an ebook, it's an interactive ebook where you have embedded videos. It's a whole, course on Saturn. So again, these things are really coming now as Rahu and Saturn are going to join, so we can understand how these things are going to work in our life. As Saturn is wanting to expand and even sort of dissolve, as Rahu, as I should say, wants to expand and even dissolve, Saturn wants to make the structure. I'll say it again. Rahu wants to expand and dissolve Pisces. Saturn wants to create structure. But both of them give this kind of anxiety and sort of confusion. And Ketu is this sort of past anxiety, but the superpower is perceiving what's beyond. Ketu shows that hidden mastery in your life, because wherever Ketu was when you were born, Ketu, when you were born, shows that hidden perceptive awareness. As it says here, Ketu shows the recent past life lessons and hidden mastery that you came into in this lifetime. But you may have a confusing arrogance about the Ketu area of life, thinking you've already mastered that quality of life. So Ketu is really from your past lives. You're born and you incarnate in this lifetime with a family and a name and an identity and all that stuff that you didn't even choose is really what Ketu is. And it really embedded in you a deep awareness of certain things. But it's like a hidden mastery, past life wisdom. Again, but it shows where it's the ultimate liberator, because it's about perfectionism and life beyond this world. Ketu is really the part of us that's just not in this world. Whereas Rahu, we can totally lose ourselves in the world. Ketu says, oh, you know what? I'm done. I'm used up in this world. But there's like a past anxiety, though, wherever Ketu is. We carry this hidden frustration that we need to transform. So again, it's quite mystical and metaphysical and cosmic in that context. So again, if you are interested in having me look at your chart around those things, including the house rulers and the nuances of each of Saturn, Mars, Rahu, and Ketu, and also the current cycle, which is big, your chart, your dashas, and in this context as well, then you can also take a look at that and use this code SAVE50. I'll have the information below the video, and you can get a big discount, a $50 discount on that. It's a great way to understand and unravel these difficult energies personally for you. But whether you do that or not, right now we are in the midst of these very intense and transformative, planetary cycles with this Rahu Ketu axis, Saturn about to move into Pisces, and whatnot. So anyway, I hope this is something that helped you and that you can benefit from maybe going a little deeper. For a limited time, I'm offering 10 hours of masterclasses, Yoga and Vedic Astrology, Quantum Vedic Astrology, and Spiritual Astrology Masterclass. These are 3 great courses that will really help you a lot. Now, in case you don't know who I am, I taught the AstroVed certification course, Dattatreya Shiva Baba, in 2010. Ravi Shankar published my book in 2018. I've been around for decades. I've been teaching these great classes, and if you go to VedicAstrologyEssentials.com, you can get this 90% off discount of these 3 great classes, more than 10 hours, guaranteed value. You can check this out. These 3 classes will give you all the necessary tools to begin to learn Vedic astrology. Please find me on YouTube at Sam Jeppy, Vedic Astrology Teacher. On there since 2007, thousands of hours of classes. Also on Facebook at Astrology Teacher, tons of articles updated regularly, and I'm on Instagram at Vedic Astrology 108, ongoing updates and interaction.